Hello, it's Tim LeBon here again, welcoming you to another video to help you with values and Stoic virtues. And today we're going to be looking at the desirable versus healthy and admirable exercise. This is designed by Robertson for SMRT 2020. And if you're in week 2 of that at the moment, then I hope this could be helpful for you in this wonderful exercise. So, that's what it looks like in Teachable, and you'll see there's 3 questions and then some further questions, which, as we see, are actually very revealing. So if you filled this in, you might want to compare your answers with the ones that we're going to look at. If you haven't done it yet, this might inspire you to go ahead and do it afterwards. So here's one that I prepared earlier. So the first question is, what things do you find most desirable in life or spend most time pursuing? Now, to answer this, for this to be a useful exercise, I think it's helpful to be really honest and not just answer the things that you think Marcus Aurelius would say. But look, if there was someone observing you and trying to work out what you found desirable, well, they might say learning and understanding because you're doing this course. They might say things like friendship, you spend time with friends. But what about those other things? You know, is it that you go and get a bar of chocolate? Does that mean that actually pleasure is something that you seem to find desirable? And what about doing things to please people or to stop people criticizing you? So that might mean that praise is something that actually you're acting as if that's one of your biggest values. So in this section, my advice is to try and be as honest as possible and to think about what someone observing you would think you are finding most desirable. And then it will be a really helpful exercise. Okay, question 2. What do you think are the healthiest character traits a person can possess? For example, what qualities might make someone emotionally resilient and contribute to mental health? Okay, so it's a good question. You might answer self-control, because then you won't be doing things like getting snacks or losing your temper. Persistence, you'll carry on with that exercise regime. Wisdom, you'll understand what is needed to be healthy and emotionally resilient. Curiosity, you'll be curious if something goes a bit wrong. You'll be curious, oh, I wonder what that was, and try and work it out. And self-compassion, being kind to yourself, because we are all fallible, imperfect human beings, at the same time trying to do our best. So again, I don't know whether your answers would be similar to these. Let's look at the third question. And this is where it gets very interesting. What qualities do you find most admirable or praiseworthy in other people? And you can consider real people, historical figures, or even fictional or legendary characters. So we have the legendary Ulysses, otherwise known as Odysseus. Self-knowledge, self-control, and wisdom. If you remember the episode where he instructs his crew members to tie him to the mast, stuck his ears full of wax, and to disregard his entreaties to untie him from the mast, when the sirens sing their songs that would entice him on to the shores of the island from which he would never return. So Ulysses we see as having particularly extraordinary qualities to help him resist the lure of the sirens. More down to earth, we might have Thomas Edison, the entrepreneur who invented the light bulb. And a journalist once rather cheekily said, how's it taking you so long to invent a light bulb? And he said, I didn't see it as 10,000 failures so much as 10,000 ways not to do it. So again, we might say, what qualities did he show? Well, persistence for sure. Also wisdom. I mean, wisdom not only in a kind of technical knowledge to know how to invent it, but also in knowing that it was just one way not to do it. Learn from your mistakes. And in these days, psychologists call this the growth mindset, that we are capable of achieving great things, and we need to work hard, and we need to see what others might think of as failures as learning experiences. It's a wonderful mindset. So by thinking of someone like Thomas Edison, we realize that that is a praiseworthy quality. Nelson Mandela, many of you might choose him. Why? Well, classic occasion where he was all those years in prison, and then there he was, and he wore the Springbok jersey for the Rugby World Cup. The rugby was very much a white man's game, and so him embracing that was really a sign of forgiveness, perhaps self-control in not kind of taking it out on the people that had imprisoned him, wisdom and vision. I think a vision for how South Africa could be if he embodied these very important qualities. And it's important not to just choose these famous people, but think of a friend you really admire and what qualities you admire in them. So, for instance, it might be cheerfulness, kindness, and a sense of humor. And that brings out slightly different qualities. So it's nice to have a range of people to bring a range of admirable qualities. Now, when you do the reveal questions, you will find some revealing answers. So, first question, are the qualities the same? Well, they're not here, are they? I don't know what they are in your case. Now, in this list, the second and third, the healthy and the praiseworthy, look fairly similar. But the first list, what's that? They're not so much character traits, are they? They're kind of more like goals or objectives. Okay, so that's interesting. Now, homing in on these two, the healthy and the praiseworthy, are there overlaps? Well, yes, there are. Wisdom, courage, and self-control. So maybe these three qualities are particularly important. And the last question, what would happen if you desired them more than anything else and lived consistently according to these three qualities? Well, don't you agree? If you were wise, courageous, and self-controlled, you would be healthier, more emotionally resilient, happier. And here's the twist. Actually, are these things desirable not only for their own sake, but also because they are conducive to what you think of as desirable? Think about this. If you haven't got self-control, will you get pleasure reliably? And in the long run, I mean, you might have a drink because it's pleasurable, but how are you going to feel the next day? So maybe you need these qualities to even get what is desirable, to achieve your objectives. What about praise? Well, what better way of getting praise than doing what's praiseworthy? So what about friendship? Well, maybe you're going to get friendship by embodying some of these qualities of good friends of yours. So have a look at your answers or have a go at this exercise and answer it for yourself and see if what emerges is a very interesting finding, which is that virtues are potentially a win-win. Maybe virtues are the royal road to all three of happiness, resilience, and leading a good life. And if that's true, then would it be a good idea to focus more energies on the virtues and less on directly achieving some of those other objectives? Well, that's what the Stoics thought. It's interesting, isn't it? What do you think? Are you going to do anything differently as a result of what we talked about today? Maybe that wouldn't be such a bad idea, but it's up to you. See you later.